Do you think he's losing his hair?
I think he's got a great mane of hair for his age.
It looks thinner. I don't know whether it's like because he's been out and about in the hurricane, but it just doesn't look as. Maybe it's just because he hasn't come straight out of the pampering room, whatever they call it, the makeup room. You just kind of he looks a little bit the hair looks dishevelled, obviously. But I was just wondering, God, it looks a bit thin. I wonder if he's needs some more plugs or something.
Are you saying?
Does he do the comb? Because I can't quite figure out
Yeah.
what it is. Is it because it's like the reverse comb over? Like the angles are all they're out.
I don't think Trump's hair can be easily explained.
Yeah.
Because it used to be that it looked like a comb over, but the actual wave of the hair goes from front to back rather than back to front or side to side. So if it's a comb over, it doesn't really make sense. It's like he's got bowling at the back, but not at the front.
Yeah, it's like the most unfortunate cowlick
Maybe that's what it is.
I've ever seen. Maybe that's what I put it down to.
Although, here's the thing. It was really a focus in the election. Everyone wanted to rag on him about his hair, that was the thing to nail Trump on as an illegitimate candidate, was his bad hair.
But you know that every one of them, if they could have seen the future and seen that he was going to win, how many of them would have come out on stage with the golden mane? Like I wouldn't put it past Low Energy Jeb to he would have dropped the guac.
Never drop guac.
Drop the guac.
Never waste guac.
Gain the cowlick.
I find it interesting that they've all dropped that line now. Now that he's in the House and there's nothing they can talk about his hair that would actually get him unseated, they've dropped that entirely. Now it's not worth talking about, whereas before it was a point of ridicule.
Yeah.
So I find that interesting. In the same way, I find it interesting about the whole Russia hacking scandal, which has just somehow disappeared in the space of a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It was a thing, and now it's not really a thing anymore, and everyone stopped talking about it. And no one's officially said whether it was an issue or not, but it's just no longer talked about.
Yeah. It's it had its sort of death throes, a bit of a gargle, but just to jump quickly back to the hair. Do you think it's the fact that it looks terrible, but he wore it and didn't give a shit, that's what was so off-putting for a lot of people, because they would never go outside seen like that. So it's like the pure representation of what a man should be, is that you just go your own way. And we're talking like he's like topping the charts on levels of disagreeableness, you know. If we talk about personality traits, like that is the alpha male that just does that, because most people that are more worried about what people think about would never do that. But so for me, it just says character, really.
You're gonna have to tell me a little bit about how you think that he tops the disagreeableness personality scale, and you're gonna have to tell me a little bit about the personality scale as well. So you mean that is he disagreeable because he doesn't care about how people perceive him?
Maybe that's more of the low and extroversion. I don't know. So maybe it's hard to pin. It's hard to pin where his hair falls on the personality scale. But
it's hard to pin his hair down his best times.
I think it's just like a representation of his overall character, that he's just he's not trying to go out to make other people's, like, you know, in direct contact with him. There's, you know, he's not going out to sort of let them get a better deal out of things. I don't know if that's probably not characterizing it too well, but
well, I get that. The issue with his hair, as I see it, is that he probably doesn't have good hair, and most other people
probably.
Well, I mean, naturally doesn't have good.
Yeah.
I mean, naturally doesn't have good hair, and most other people in that situation would just cut it very, very short and be done with it. And instead, you get people who own it. Which is what you're saying. Yeah. They just own it. Yeah, exactly. And you know, Bernie Sanders was a bit like that. Like he had the whole wispy hair. You know, looking.
Whoa. Bernie Sanders doesn't want anyone to own anything.
Well, I guess that's
settle down.
I guess that's the palpable irony of Bernie Sanders and his socialist-sounding message.
Yeah.
After he
socialist haircut.
After he then sold out and got himself another house, which is nice.
Has he got another house? Does he?
Yeah.
Another house that you know
he just managed.
No one should really own.
He just magicked up a house straight after the election. Yeah.
Yeah.
Conveniently. Yeah. Probably with hypothetical fall money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I say hypothetical because it'd be slammed to suggest that it happened.
Property is just not always theft, is it?
Well, especially when it's delightfully laid out.
Yeah.
then it's just awesome.
Yeah, with amazing satin curtains and just a balcony overlooking.
Well, a
where does he
porch.
live? Where does he live?
Well, I believe he got a like a lakeside or a beachside property.
Oh, did he?
I'm gonna have to double check this.
You can't own the ocean, can you?
Well, you literally can't.
Maybe that's how he justifies it.
So let me type this in.
What property does Bernie Sanders not own?
I think at this point Bernie Sanders owns more properties than Trump.
Ooh, buys a $500,000 vacation home. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Straight after the primaries, August. Is that when the primaries finished up?
Straight after that was his what do they call that? Retail therapy.
Hush money.
Yeah.
Hush money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vanity Fair. Let's see if we can find the location. The lakefront property. There you go.
Oh, so he's got okay, Vermont too.
Helps himself to a modest lakefront property.
Yeah, $500,000. Yeah.
Because we all know that you shouldn't have like a 6-bedroom house on the lakefront because that's just crass. Yeah. You save the 6-bedroom house for the townhouse, please. Yeah. Everyone knows that, especially Vanity Fair. Vanity Fair should know better. I think Vanity Fair's gone downhill since Chris left.
I've never read Vanity Fair.
Christopher Hitchens used to post on Vanity Fair, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah. He's the only person on Vanity Fair that I read.
So what do we think about the internalized oppression that's going on right now in the what are they refuges? I guess they call them bunkers.
The hurricane refuges.
Yeah, hurricane refuges. Yeah.
What do we think about it? Well, we think that it's just terrible to see black people forced to like a racist president just because he's handing them out hot food.
Yeah.
You know, he's wrong to help them because he's doing it disingenuously. Really, he shouldn't help them because he's racist, as we all know. Yeah. So either that or he's not racist. So, which I'm not willing to believe that CNN have lied ever. Yeah, the picture we get from CNN of Trump being a xenophobic racist must be correct.
Do you think there was anything actually in those food containers? Like, do we have evidence that they weren't just empty and they weren't just paid like Craigslist actors?
Paid actors.
Do you reckon they were just Craigslist actors that he just called in? Well, he just called into the refuge and said, "You need to be here and take photos with the president. Force your way to the front of the line." That's probably what really happened. They're probably paid actors who forced their way over the bodies of crushed children. I mean, if you waiting in line for a taco or burrito or whatever that was getting fed.
If you go down that route, you might have to ask if the whole hurricane was fake.
Yeah,
because it's
false flag.
False flag. Because we all know that Ann Coulter has said that it wasn't due to climate change.
All I've seen Ann Coulter say lately is that there's 0 meters of the walls being built. She's been pumping that tweet out for a while now.
Well, my point is that she was very, very clear that it wasn't due to climate change, and a lot of people have slammed her for it. Like, I've seen her getting slammed all over the place for suggesting that the hurricane could have just been a normal hurricane.
That happens.
Not one
It's likely to happen every year.
Which they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she was slammed for suggesting that it might be just a normal, hurricane that happens due to the weather pattern there anyway, regardless of climate change or not. Yeah. But
it's obviously too soon. And people have been slamming her for that. So maybe it's not okay to deny anything about the hurricane. Maybe the hurricane's like the Holocaust. If you're saying that this didn't really, it's like hurricane denial is like Holocaust denial. Are you saying Hitler handed out like foam lunch packages to the Jews?
Well, he handed out yellow stars, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he had a few of those. Yeah. I guess at least Trump was handing out stuff that they could eat.
Sustenance.
Yeah, sustenance, yeah.
Yeah, you can't eat Zyklon B.
Yeah.
I guess.
We'll put the link up to this horrifying clip.
So what are we saying?
Put that up in the bio.
So what are we saying here? That Trump handing out food to black hurricane survivors is as bad as Hitler gassing the Jews?
it's on the same spectrum.
Yeah, clearly because he's racist, so he must be doing it for a ulterior motive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're either it's either internalized depression,
Yeah.
or paid actors. There's no other explanation for what happened.
It couldn't be hunger.
Well, why would actors be hungry? They've probably got like caravans out there. Isn't that what they do? Caravans out the back. Once they get their makeup done, they'll probably just white people with blackface. Like that's probably what was really happening there.
I think that was just Trump wearing a lot of orange. I think that the actors are probably still well paid from all the George Soros funded riots they've been attending recently.
Yeah.
So
you reckon they would have brought their own lunch?
I think so. Yeah,
Right.
they've probably brought their own lunch from Starbucks since they smashed it up at their last BLM event or their last Antifa outing.
Yeah.
So they're probably well fed and well paid at this point.
Yeah. Well, they're having their cake and they're eating it too, aren't
They
They're
are.
protesting with Antifa and getting paid by Soros, and then getting lunch from Trump.
Yeah, I don't really understand how Antifa can be funded by a billionaire since they're anti-capitalist. So I'm a bit confused by that.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be like having an anti-royalist movement that's funded by the Queen.
Yeah.
It just doesn't really make a lot of sense.
I literally got no response to that.
I mean, it's mind-boggling when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like, this is why I say they're useful fools and foot soldiers, because they obviously don't have any real agency of the own. I mean, they can't do. They're working for the very thing they say they're fighting against.
Yeah, but I mean, these kids have got to get their medicinal marijuana and so
And they're angst out.
Those keggers, those vegan keggers aren't going to pay for themselves.
We're going to slide back into an Antifa discussion, but yeah, these are probably kids that have tried to attack their father because he's probably a successful middle-income earning businessman that provides for the family and emasculates their son effectively by being a much more of a patriarch than they'll ever be.
Yeah.
But since their dad slapped them down with his left hand, they've decided that the only way they can get their angst out is, in fact, by joining the Black Bloc and protesting with Antifa in the streets.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of healthy mind state of the Antifa that I'd expect to find in their ranks. So I'm not surprised that they're a little bit cognitively deficient.
Yeah,
But-
right. So the summary of this video is that Trump has great hair and he's a racist.
Yeah, and him helping black people just underscores how much of a racist he is.